Risks to oil and gas supplies as the Israel-Iran conflict continues, but also questions about the shape the global energy transition will take, given more and more people agree moving to renewables isn't like flipping a switch. CNA's Roland Lim joins us now live from Energy Asia in Kuala Lumpur. Roland, what are energy industry players saying about this?
Well, industry leaders here say that the Israel-Iran tensions are a stark reminder that oil and gas remains vital for energy security. I mean, we had Aramco CEO Amin Nasser pointing out that during conflicts, reliance on fossil fuels can't be dismissed as renewables are not yet able to meet all demand. Similarly, executives at today's sessions warned that supply disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz could trigger sharp price swings, and that underscores really the need to have diversified sources and strategic reserves. At the same time, speakers here also stressed that the energy transition won't be an overnight switch, as you just mentioned, and panels highlight the importance of scaling renewables, storage, hydrogen, but in a way that preserves affordability and reliability. Now, who better to talk about the energy transition than Adair Turner, chairman of the Energy Transitions Commission. Adair, good to have you on the show. First off, I'd like to get your take really on the increasing tensions in the Middle East and the volatility it's adding to the global energy markets.
Well, obviously, when you get tensions like this, people are worried about what that's going to happen to the energy market. I would say so far, actually, the movement in the oil price might have been somewhat less than we thought. It went up last week, but if anything, it's moderated this week. We'll have to see what happens, both in terms of whether the Israelis attack Iranian oil and gas facilities, whether the Iranians respond. But I think the overall message for the energy transition is, yes, right today we have an energy system which as much as 75% or more across the world is dependent on fossil fuels, but it is a volatile system. It's a volatile system because the process of trading fossil fuels across the world is susceptible to these sort of interventions. What it tells us is, yes, it will take us a significant period of time to make an energy transition, but when we've done it and when we have more diverse energy sources from renewables, from nuclear, as well as a remaining role from fossil fuels, it will be a less volatile system, better for business, better for consumers. So I think whenever this occurs, I think it's a strong argument for getting on with renewables deployment as fast as we possibly can.
How would you advise policymakers then and key leaders, especially in the industries, to actually get on with that?
Well, look, the crucial thing we need to go faster with renewables is strategic vision of what is possible. We need regulatory structures, the way that you run your electricity system to enable renewables to develop and to connect. We need support for finance. We need good planning and permitting systems. It's not one thing, it's a whole variety of things. The crucial thing is to realize the scale of the potential. Across much of the world, we are going to see electricity systems develop where solar plus batteries in much of the sunbelt of the world are going to be dominant. Here in bits of Southeast Asia, it's a bit more complicated because of cloud cover, low wind speeds in peninsular Malaysia. But if you look at the totality of Southeast Asia together, there is huge renewable energy resource. And actually, one of the ways to unleash it is to create greater interconnectivity between the different markets of Southeast Asia.
And you've also got differing economies here, really. Some are growing at a faster speed than others. Some have more money to spend. What this interconnectedness that you're talking about, how does that feed into a bigger picture in terms of meeting Asia's energy demand?
Well, look, you've got to meet energy demand, but people sometimes suggest that there's a conflict between that and decarbonising. There isn't. The area where we've done in Asia the most detailed work on the power system is India. The work which we did on India was about an India which increases power demand 4 or 5 times by 2060. And we think it's absolutely possible to meet that in India in systems which are primarily based on renewables, above all solar, and plus an element of wind. So the idea that the commitment to decarbonising electricity systems is incompatible with energy growth is real nonsense. All our work at the Energy Transition Commission has been about big increases in electricity supply, doubling it even in rich developed countries like my own, 4 or 5 times increase in India, 10 times increases in sub-Saharan Africa. We need a vision of a decarbonized global economy, which is also delivering much, much more energy to meet the needs of growing prosperity.
China has introduced solar farms, EVs, batteries at breakneck speeds. Are there lessons that other Asian countries can learn from China's example?
Well, what China has done is get the benefits of strategic vision. They simply decided 10 years ago that they were going to commit to renewables, both deploying the renewables, but also providing the kit, the manufacturing that supports that. And that combined with the fact, of course, they have the advantage of being a market of 1,400 million people, so they get the economies of scale, they get the learning curve effects, has unleashed extraordinary technological advance. And I think it's really important to understand what China is doing on solar PV costs, absolutely coming thumping down 90% or so in the last 10 years. Wind turbine costs massively lower in China than anywhere else in the world. The battery technology developments, increases in energy density, reductions in cost, hugely important. I think here in Southeast Asia, one's got to work out how to relate to that. But you have very successfully here, for instance, we're here in Malaysia, in the past, used Chinese inward investment to build a manufacturing base here in JVs, getting inward a technology transfer. And I think across Southeast Asia, countries should be trying to work with China, but in a way that also develops local manufacturing capability as well. And I think that's absolutely possible.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you for your insights. And that was Adair Turner, Chairman of the Energy Transitions Commission. But stay with us on CNA as we bring you more updates here at Energy Asia 2025.
Thanks, Roland. That was Roland Lim reporting live from the Energy Asia Summit in Kuala Lumpur.